Pollution had become a global issue, and most of the countries in Southeast Asia been experienced this pollution in a higher level. In Southeast Asia, the people been more exposed to the harmful effects, and this will give an effect towards the respiratory problems and other disease. In 2018, World Health Organization (WHO) had stated that 9 out of 10 people globally breathed air that did not meet requirement for WHO air quality guidelines. The air pollution in Southeast Asia been increased year by year and give an effect towards the quality of life among the people. This pollution will create more negative implications for the society, and this situation must have been solved as soon as possible.
Air pollution can be caused by the air pollutant. Air pollutant is a material in the air that can have a negative effect on humans and the ecosystem. It can be any type of form such as strong particles, liquid droplets, or gases, and a pollutant may be man-made or natural in nature. There are many factors why the air pollution happen across the Southeast Asia countries.
An Indonesian province declared a state of emergency as officials said they had pinpointed hundreds of spots at risk of erupting into smog-belching forest fires that plague the region every year.
The factors of air pollution in Southeast Asia are because of the infamous forest fire in Indonesia. The forest fire that happened can safely be categorized as man-made one because it happened by the one of the farming methods that called slash and burn agriculture. To create a vast field in the forest, a farming technique that requires slashing and burning plants in the forest is made mostly by farmers. The process starts by clearing forests by cutting down trees in their respective area. The trees are then burned and likely to result in a nutrient-rich layer of ash that makes the soil nutritious and eliminates weed and pest species temporarily. This method can be used in shifting agriculture, a system where the farmer is moving regularly from one cropland to another while waiting for another 3 to 5 years after practicing the slash and burn method on the said area. After the cycle is finished, they then planted rubber tree for pulp, timber for paper, and palm oil. This issue has increased rapidly in recent years because more land for the profitable palm oil market has been developed for increasing plantations because Indonesia is also one of the biggest exporter of palm oil. This is quite a severe issue because the forest fire is hard to extinguish and it is also emits a large amount of smoke and only heavy rain is needed to put it off rather a firefighter. Next factors that cause the air pollution is the vehicles emission. Across all nations in Southeast Asia, there is an approximately population of over 670 million people. Therefore, when there are more people, which means there will be more vehicles owned by each one of the household. Take Malaysia for an example. It was said that the pollutant from burning of fossil fuel produced by vehicles in Malaysia are one of Malaysia's major sources of air pollution. In 2011, there were more than 21 million registered vehicles on Malaysian roads, and that number is very probably higher now. And all of those cars are creating hazard gases that are harmful to our health. Cars, yes, do make it easier for our life to move, but they have an impact on us. That is why mostly in urban area, not only in Malaysia, but also other big cities like Jakarta and Bangkok, also polluted with carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide is a colorless, odorless, harmful gas formed by the incomplete combustion process of carbon-containing fuel, such as coal, natural gas, and petroleum, with vehicles emissions being the largest sources of carbon monoxide. When it becomes worse and not being overcome, due to its carbon dioxide content on a combustible engine, vehicles emissions also lead greatly to global warming and will bring a lot more harm to living things. The industrial emission also a major source of air pollution because pollutants, including chemical reagents, particles in the air contaminants, sulfur dioxide, and nitrogen oxides, are released through the operation of factories. Due to the wide variety of industrial sectors throughout the Southeast Asian countries, This emission from industry that use coal and wood as their primary energy source for production of their goods deemed to be seen as normal, but it will give effect to living things on the long term. Factories manufacture valuable items, but they also produce waste. Unfortunately, factory owners do not often properly dispose of waste. Hazard substances and other dangerous substances are also released into the air, water, and soil by them. Factories contaminate the air by blowing chemical vapors and fumes out from the vents and chimneys, and through burning waste in open dumps or incinerators. Generator exhausts also fill the air with toxic gases. And adding fuel to this issue, many small and mid-sized businesses do not install equipment for pollution control. This will raise the emission of contaminant in industrial areas, in particular, which in some situations also contribute specific pollutants to the air. Lastly, a contributing factor of natural air pollution is volcanic eruptions. It releases massive quantity of sulfuric, chlorine, and ash products when an eruption happens, which are released into the atmosphere and can be picked up by winds to be spread over thousands of square miles. These gases pollute the air and make it difficult to breathe. Among the Southeast Asian countries, Indonesia can be said home of many volcanoes. The notorious Ring of Fire contains Indonesia, an island archipelago made up of more than 17,000 volcanic islands and has nearly 130 active volcanoes, more than any other country. Ring of Fire is an area where the Pacific plates strike other adjacent plates, causing regular seismic and volcanic activities. Therefore, this explains the volcano's eruption that's seen as often and also earthquake in Indonesia. The eruption of volcano is one of the factors of air pollution. This is because if a volcano erupts, the atmosphere emits gases such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, fluorine, and so on. First implication from the air pollution issue is transboundary haze. Transboundary haze has been a recurrent phenomenon in the Southeast Asia to various degrees over the year. Haze resulting to limited of visibility and makes people find it is hard to breathe. These incidents have arisen due mainly because the land and forest fire caused by seasonal burning, which is slash and burn in Indonesia. Some of these incidents were serious part of Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand, and Asia has been dealing with this issue for almost 2 decades. The problem is not new but constant. Fires in Sumatra have led the majority of Indonesia, Singapore, and Malaysia to drown in smoke for years. It can be said that the neighboring countries such as Malaysia, Singapore, and Thailand and Brunei were very badly affected by the haze. During the Southeast Asian haze in 2015, where Riau, Jambi, South Sumatra, West Kalimantan, Central Kalimantan, and South Kalimantan were the 6 Indonesian provinces that declared a state of emergency pertaining to the haze. Take for example, the transboundary haze happens in 2019. More than 930,000 hectares of land in Indonesia have been burned. Hundreds of people were relocated and more than 9,000 firefighters have been dispatched to fight the fire. Nearby, Singapore and Malaysia have both choked during the week in a thick haze, exceeding unhealthy level of air quality. Not only the transboundary haze is the implication of the air pollution, but it is also causing the strained neighborly relations among Asian member countries, if not others, and it is denting the image of Asian solidarity due to this issue. Next implication of air pollution is related to health because our health can be seriously impaired by air pollution. Aside respiratory illness, 1/3 of the deaths from heart disease, stroke, and lung cancer are due to air pollution, according to World Health Organization (WHO). Every year, air pollution kills an estimated 7 million people globally. WHO data suggests that 9 out of 10 individuals consume air that surpass the limit of the WHO guidelines containing high level of pollutants. Children are particularly vulnerable in Southeast Asia. It is because most Southeast Asian countries are now facing high levels of air pollution, especially in urban areas where the annual average level have significantly exceeded the limit of the WHO. The size of microscopic air pollutant, also known as the particulate matter (PM). Some PMs are large enough and can be seen with naked eyes, while there is PM 2.5 that are literally 2.5 micrometers and smaller, also inhalable particles by living things, enough to say that this particulate matter even smaller than a single hair from your head. That is how the air pollution can destroy your body by inhaling this particle. The PM that vary in its size up from 10 until 2.5 micrometers can get deep into your lungs, and some may even get into your bloodstream, causing respiratory disease. As it worsens, air pollution can cause lung cancer since small particles can easily enter and delve deeper into human respiratory system and can damage the lungs. This will attack the bronchi and can cause cancer of the lungs.
In addition, air pollution also causes global warming. Global warming largely caused by emission of so much carbon dioxide and other heat-trapping gases into the atmosphere. These heat-trapping gases disperse across the planet and lingers for decades to centuries in the atmosphere. Therefore, as we continue to release these gases, their concentrations in the atmosphere build up over time. By comparison, atmospheric aerosol particles are largely located near their origin and do not remain in atmosphere for a long time, so that the atmospheric concentration do not build up markedly over time, even though we continue to emit them at current rates. According to the NST News, Indonesian forests are now rising, causing concern of global warming. In that news, it stated that Indonesian forest fires are an annual problem, but the unusually dry weather has worsened this year, sending toxic smoke floating over Malaysia in recent days and causing a diplomatic row. Air pollution can be considered as a global problem, and mostly in Southeast Asian countries are now experiencing severe level of air pollution problem. Southeast Asia includes Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, People's Democratic Republic of Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, Republic of Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, Timor-Leste, and Vietnam. It was said that the level of air pollution may vary in different areas such urban, suburban, rural area, and secluded region in each country.
One of the suggestions or recommendations to reduce the air pollution in the ASEAN is by making a transboundary cooperation among ASEAN. This is important when natural resources and environmental space are shared. By making transboundary cooperation will help to promote better understanding and exchange of knowledge and concern between neighboring countries and leads to collective response to shared problems such as transboundary haze pollution. This allowing new opportunities and ways of overcoming these common threats. This cooperation on transboundary haze pollution control following severe land and forest fires in 1997 until 1998, which is ASEAN member states signed the ASEAN Agreements on Transboundary Haze Pollution on June 2002 in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. This agreement aimed to prevent, monitor, and mitigate land and forest fires to control transboundary haze pollution through concerted national efforts, regional and international cooperation. The agreement contains measures on monitoring and assessment, prevention, preparedness, national and joint emergency response, procedures for deployment of people, material and equipment across borders, and technical cooperation and scientific research. Other than that, strict enforcement of applicable fire or haze-related laws and regulations, streamlining administrative capability, and implementing more simplified process to increase the cost effectiveness of implementation. It would also be worth considering getting some sort of non-compliance penalty clause. There are laws regulating the prohibition and restriction of burning vegetation in ASEAN member states, especially during certain restrictive conditions or periods. For example, the vigorous promotion in the conjunction with the provision of incentive to promote non-burning land clearing alternative, especially in the field of sustainable peatland management, and to raise awareness of the possible co-benefit that could be extracted from practices of mutual interest and collective gain. Finally, strict compliance and implementation combined with adequate penalties or penalty provision is essential for the rules and regulation to be effective and enforceable. Besides that, educating ASEAN and other customers on the causes and effect of the event change or full life cycle study of the entire agricultural or forestry production systems linked to the issue of fire or haze and its subsequent implication, leading to a more active awareness, involvement and action of customers to follow more environmentally and socially sound. If there is any hope of combating the fire and haze problem in the Southeast Asian region, building up such like-minded coalition of the willing is necessary. The adoption by the general public of eco-labeling standards to promote more sustainable use and production practices will go a long way in sending the right signals to agricultural and forestry land producers for the introduction of more environmentally friendly non-burning cultivation methods.
In conclusion, air pollution that been happened in Southeast Asia had affected the ASEAN member countries such as Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, and others. This issue of air pollution is not a new problem anymore because it had been happening for many years ago. All of the countries in Southeast Asia must cooperate with each other to find a better solution for this issue before it brings many negative impacts to the society.